A raging bull market could be brewing. Today we'll break it down for you. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a good one. Let's just jump right into it. I do want to thank our sponsor, and that is Salt Lending. You can actually take advantage of downtrends in the market to where you can unlock your wealth potential of your Bitcoin and leverage into larger markets. The way you do it, of course, is to take a small loan to value ratio, and you can start using the same tools everybody else does that is building wealth. Check out saltlending.com. Use their Salt Shield, which is the no liquidation solution. Let them know we sent you by using the link down below. All right, let's get into it today. And this is getting into some interesting points. And what I'm going to try to do for you today is outline all the bullish scenarios that could play into a recovery of what we're seeing right now. And it's going to start with the biggest thing of all, and that is a government shutdown. Now, if the government shutdown gets redirected, because remember, Polymarket is all over the place right now, it doesn't know what's going to happen, which is kind of the peak of uncertainty in itself, is that even the gamblers out there that are trying to understand where this is going do not completely get what's going on in D.C. So I want to go to a couple of clips. This, of course, is Mr. Tom Emmer, and he breaks down a couple of points of how this might be able to end on Tuesday. Take a look.
What's your timeline on it? If you had to make an estimate.
I'm not the one making the
but you understand this.
I'm telling you that sadly, I think their next inflection point is next Tuesday.
Okay.
Literally, if they try to reopen the government beforehand, the very people that they're afraid of in their party will absolutely destroy them and may not show up Tuesday. So they keep the government closed through Tuesday, harm American people just to make a statement.
All right, so what he's getting at is this is a critical time for the Democrats of being able to look as though they've kind of defended the position. And he goes on in this same clip to kind of break down that maybe there's a window here for the Dems to actually come out looking good. Take a look.
The extent that healthcare costs do go up, and they will in certain parts of the country. There's no question that that's directionally where this is going to go. Do you think Democrats will get any credit when this is all over for raising the red flag on that?
They can try to claim the high ground on that, but remember, their argument about healthcare is completely false. Republicans are going to move us forward, and we got to reform the system. But you got to open up the government first before you can get to that.
All right, so one of the things Emmer was getting to, obviously the Dems could be in a position where they showed that they fought for the American voters. Now, one thing that plays into this is how does this get corrected quickly? And what I'm talking about is the health premiums. If you get the Republicans where we get the government reopened and they come in with a plan, if they're looming with a plan right now that could immediately address this, that would be another catalyst going forward. Here's Mike Johnson talking about that.
Is if the government reopened tonight, would Republicans have a plan to address the Obamacare subsidies?
Yes.
You would have a plan
we
tonight.
Have proposals to, we could have that ready immediately. Yes, we have ideas on the table.
Are you saying that there is a Republican plan and you're just not talking about it?
No, I'm saying there's lots of discussion about it, but we don't relay it on a conference call with hundreds of people listening in.
Why not have that out there to talk about in the public so the people can hear that debate happening? I mean, you could have committees in session right now.
They will, Caitlin.
Talking about this.
We've been working on it since day one of this Congress. We worked on it in the years prior. And we've already demonstrated, this is not talking points for us. We've demonstrated it. We put it into the One Big Beautiful Bill.
All right, so there he was kind of defending the position. If in fact that is true and the Republicans have something looming that could be played into this, that could be another catalyst going forward. Now, there are some other scenarios that are playing into this, and that is the broader market, the kind of pressure that the American consumer is getting. Well, it showed up in the Chipotle stock of all places. Take a look.
Now let's get to our chart of the day. Look at this one. Chipotle shares taking a real big hit after lowering its sales outlook as consumers, they cut back on dining as they're feeling the pressure from inflation.
This has been a problem for a while. I've been fighting it. I was looking for anything to be positive last night, anything at all. There was not anything to be positive. I'm not sure this leadership team is the right leadership team. And I do not want to be emotional about it, but I truly believe it. I sold out of it. I apologize to anyone who followed me into it. I actually am quite tempted in Starbucks, to be honest with you.
I think there's an obvious problem here that we're kind of not touching on, which is the government shutdown.
All right, so that analyst completely missed it there. I think Chipotle, this is something we've been talking about on this channel right here for a while, and that is that these corrected sales, the first place you would start to see the ouch point occur was going to be in the restaurant industry. And the big dog of the restaurant industry has always been Chipotle. Well, on one hand, you have young Americans now can no longer afford to buy Chipotle. But on the other hand, you got the S&P 500 adding $18 trillion in 6 months. What does that tell you, guys? It tells you that assets are the only way you beat inflation, whether it's digital assets, stocks, gold, anything. An asset that has good liquidity, this is the angle for you. That's why you can come to this channel and watch it. Let's get into a couple other points right quick. I want to get into the potential of the tariff agreements that could be done by November 30th. Look at that list. Argentina, India, Brazil, Mexico, China, even at 46%. That one is the big one right there, guys. If China has some sort of even partial deal, that in itself would be a fairly good catalyst. But the problem is that you don't know, because it's Trump, you don't know if there's going to be something that comes out of left field again and whacks the market one more time and creates this crazy volatility. The one thing that would solidify that is if they pull the powers from the president. And the powers from the president have already passed through on this Senate resolution right here. We had 4 Republicans siding with the Democrats. Now, I don't think this happens, but if it were to happen, that would be at least some sort of consistency that would brew around tariffs. I think the markets would look at that in a positive way, at least from a market standpoint. Only thing is, I don't think the House will even get close to passing that. One other thing, Trump says tariffs checks are probably coming for millions of Americans and soon. This is another indicator, of course, that, if we're doing this much wealth transfer, the situation that is occurring with these tariffs, now to the point that the U.S. government is going to rebate the American people. That is, I don't know if that would be a catalyst, but it would change things dramatically. One other thing that could change things is the liquidity programs and the balance sheets for the Fed. And if you look at quantitative tightening, which is ending on December 1st, the real question is, when would easing go into effect? When we saw easing kind of kick in back in 2023, one of the key things that occurred was back in March of 2023, and the key element was what we had seen with Silicon National Bank. And this was the zone right here that I'm kind of pointing to on the chart. And look at this. This is the uptrend right there. That's the Bitcoin chart right now. So granted, it doesn't mean that that would happen on all risk assets, but the point is easing will start to change things around. Other things that could happen during this time where we get easing is where the Fed will start buying bonds in the first quarter of 2026, is one analyst talking about that, relaunching the balance sheet explosion, and then net purchases of about $35 billion in Treasury bonds per month. That's what would happen here in terms of an easing cycle. So again, more catalysts that play into a potential. All right, one other catalyst I want to get to. This is a clip on Paul Atkins, who is waiting on shutdown for crypto retirement accounts to possibly restructure and maybe even banning accredited investor requirements. Take a look.
As far as the retirement investments go, we're working with the Department of Labor, and of course, all this is affected by the shutdown, so we haven't really been able to make much progress. And then on the individual elective investment side, we will be looking at the accredited investor standard. Is that still something that we should, have or modify?
All right, so you can see the number of catalysts are piling up here, right, guys? By the way, if you like this, make sure and hit the like button. Let us know. Drop some comments down below. It always does help these videos get out there. The other thing that starts to leverage in is, of course, the Clarity Act. And the Clarity Act, I think, is maybe going to be the biggest element that could really put this market back on its edge in terms of in a positive way. Some say the committee could move as soon as tomorrow. Others say final preparations mean it could slide into next week. I'm still kind of twisted on this as to whether or not we see this in 2025 or we see it coming back in 2026. I think it all boils down to the shutdown. That's the delay issue and mechanism that needs to occur for this to actually take place. The Clarity Act would move markets in a big way. Other things that would move market, of course, is we've got the Fusaka upgrade occurring, and this is scheduled for December 3rd. And if you look at some of the improvements right here, mainly what you're looking at is the capacity, throughput, and then, of course, the fact that we're talking about less cost. All of this blending into the last upgrade we had with Ethereum, which helped the market, was Pactro. This, I think, is going to do the same thing. The last catalyst area is this. Nothing stops these categories that are growing. Of course, we've talked about tokenized assets. This is going to explode. You're going to also see AI and the interjection of agentic payments. X402, we did a whole video on that. If you guys didn't watch it, go back and watch it. It is a big, big deal that is going to shift how AI is going to be used on crypto. Then, of course, you've got to look at the global market overview. And this, of course, is stablecoins, all continuing to grow. And that is good for crypto in general. Last point I'll get to is even Avalanche. Now we get into countries that are all leveraging in. This is Japan now with, look at this, 6.5 trillion of their credit card processes are now pushing into the Avalanche ecosystem, so just deployed. All of this is good news, guys. So the point being, we've got a lot in the works. All of these things are in the air is the problem, and that's why I think you're seeing such uncertainty in the market. If we start seeing some of these things land, we're not going to get them all, so don't assume that we will. But some of these will be key. Starting with the government shutdown, I think that is the one catalyst that will start a cascade event, potentially starting to correct a market. All right, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do it now. Get in and also on the Diamond Circle. We always leave a link down below. It's absolutely free to join. And follow me out there on X at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on The Paul Barron Show.